Hi, my name is Eva, and today I will be talking to you about renewable energy. So let's break down this definition. What is energy? Energy is the capacity to do work. Any source that may be ready to do work is able to produce energy, and other sources may need to transfer from one body to another in order to produce energy. What does it mean to be renewable? Being renewable means that you have the ability to be replenished in any way. For example, natural resources are often renewable because they are able to be replenished in short spans of time. Renewable energy is provided through many sources. These sources can be easily replenished and include solar power, wind, water, biomass, and geothermal energy. How much renewable energy is consumed in the US? About 11% of the US's electricity consumption is renewable energy. Here we can see the breakdown of all of the energy that we consume. So 11% is renewable energy, and within that, 2% is geothermal, 9% solar, 22% hydroelectric, 24% wind, and 43% biomass. So what is biomass? Bio means life, and mass is the quantity of matter a certain body contains. So biomass is therefore the total mass of an organism in a given area. So let's talk about 5 important renewable energy sources. We have biomass. Biomass is an organic material that comes from plants and animals. It contains stored energy from the sun, and this is created through a process called photosynthesis. In the process of photosynthesis, plants convert this radiant energy from the sun into chemical energy. And when biomass is burned, the chemical energy is released as heat. Biomass can be directly burned or be transferred into liquid biofuels or biogas. Here are a few examples of biomass and the uses for the energy. So wood can be burned to heat buildings and generate the electricity. Crops can also be burned as fuel or transferred as liquid biofuel. And garbage and waste are very similar in which they can be burned to generate electricity or be converted to biogas. So how much biomass is used for fuel in the US? Biomass provides about 43% of total energy in the US, and 20% comes from biofuels, another 20% from wood, and 4% from the biomass in municipal waste. What is hydropower? Hydro relates to water and also relates to hydroelectricity and hydroelectric power plants. Power is the energy produced. So therefore, hydropower is the total energy and electricity produced by hydroelectric power plants through the force of streams and rivers. Hydropower is the use of flowing water in streams and rivers to produce mechanical energy. Hydropower is extremely reliant on the water cycle because as operation takes place, water vapor is evaporated, and this is brought up to the atmosphere where water vapor begins to is created, and it falls down to the ground as precipitation or rain. So that's why hydropower relies really heavily on the water cycle, and it especially relies on the final repeating stages of the cycle, and that is precipitation or rain. And it collects because rain collects in streams and rivers where the water flows extremely rapidly, creating this energy. So here is a picture of a hydroelectric dam. So the amount of precipitation that drains into rivers and streams determines the water available for producing hydropower. If there were extreme situations in which there were droughts and there wasn't any rain, we would have a hard time with hydropower because we need rain for the rivers to keep flowing, and many precipitation patterns may also have a huge effect on hydropower production. So how much hydropower is used in the US? As of 2020, hydroelectric power makes up about 22% of renewable energy. We are beginning to notice that a lot of hydroelectricity share of the total electricity generation is beginning to decrease. What is geothermal energy? Geo relates to the earth and thermal relates to the heat produced. So geothermal energy is the energy gained by using the heat of our earth and its underground reservoirs and our hotspots. Geothermal energy is when the radioactive particles in the Earth's core are slowly beginning to decay. And this process is called geothermal energy. We collect all these particles and they give us the energy. The Earth has an inner core called the iron core, an outer core, mantle, and a crust. The very innermost core, the iron core, is actually at the temperature that compares to the sun's temperature. The particles are moving very rapidly, and this produces high heat and also produces the geothermal energy we need. The direct use and district heating water system, geothermal power plants, and geothermal heat pumps are all applications of geothermal energy use. Many of these applications rely on the Earth's temperature near our surface, or if we can't get that temperature that we need, we have to drill down miles into the earth to get there. We use this a lot in the United States. We are one of the countries that uses it the most. And we use this directly to heat buildings and homes with district heating systems. The United States, again, has the most geothermal energy out of any other countries, and in total we consume about 2% of this energy. What is wind energy? As most of us know, wind is the movement of the air in the form of a current or air blowing in a specific direction. So wind energy is a process of using this wind to create energy. So here in this image, we can see the process of wind going on to land. So oftentimes, the uneven heating of the water and land causes wind. So during the day, we actually notice warm air over land rises and the cool air and wind rushes to take its place. So during the night, this is actually reversed and it's kind of like an opposite effect because the air starts cooling rapidly and the wind starts changing direction. There are three very important kinds of wind energy. There's utility scale wind, distributed winds, and offshore winds. So utility scale winds use turbines that range from 100 kilowatts to several megawatts, and they provide power to large industries and homes. And distributed wind turbines are a lot smaller, and they are below 100 kilowatts to several megawatts. And offshore winds are wind turbines in large bodies of water. So how much wind energy is used in the US? We consume about 24% of this renewable energy. This is about 4% of the world's total electricity usage. What is solar energy? Solar relates to the sun and the energy derived from its rays. So solar energy or power is when we use the sun's rays to receive that energy through the use of our solar technologies. The energy harnessed from our sun has been a major source for a long time. We use this energy because it doesn't produce any air pollutants or emit CO2. It is one of the best ways to reduce these air pollutants and the emissions of CO2. So the building of solar energy systems also has little to no effects on the environment. There are many benefits to using solar energy, but often there are always downsides and limitations. And a downside that we can see is that oftentimes sunlight varies in regions and locations and times and seasons, and we don't receive as much of that constant sunshine as we hope. The amount of sunlight we receive is also relatively small, and it's difficult to collect. About 9% of our consumption amount from renewable resources is solar energy, and this is about 1.5 of our total consumption of electricity. Thanks for listening, and here are my works cited.